This is Sports 225 with Lee Feinswag. Sports 225 with Lee Feinswag is Baton Rouge's longest running and best television show. Who would have believed that?
My best friend, Lee Feinswag with the Christmas.
Sports 225 is brought to you by Breck. Remember, it all starts at Breck. Now, your host, Lee Feinswag.
Well, there's nothing better for me than Sports 225 with Ron Higgins of NOLA.com and a wealth of history about sports in the Deep South and the SEC. That's a heck of an introduction, isn't it?
That means I'm friggin' old. That's a nice way to put it, a wealth of knowledge.
We're sitting here getting ready, and I'm looking in the monitor and seeing just how bad and old my hair looks, and he's got a bad back, and between the two of us, we're like the, little fife and drum corps in the Revolutionary War.
Oh, you got to play hurt. That's all there is to it.
You can play with pain.
Yeah.
But, most of the time, I'm lucky I'm healthy most of the time and feel good. But
Yeah.
there have been times when I've done this show. I remember one time I did this show with a migraine, and I don't get very many terrible headaches. And how I gutted through that, and that was tough. When you feel like crap and you do that kind of stuff, you got the flu, but you still do the show, that kind of stuff.
I covered games with stomach viruses.
Oh.
No, just
Ooh.
not a good deal.
No, because bathrooms in press boxes always are so nice, too.
Yeah.
And in basketball, they're not even accessible usually.
The worst part is that one of them was when I covered Arkansas and Fayetteville. I remember standing in front of Corliss Williamson's locker going, "You don't look like you feel very well." I said, "I don't." And I had a flight back to Fayetteville about two and a half hours after the game, from Fayetteville to Memphis. Got on the plane in Memphis, and then right before I got on the plane, and got on the plane, and lock in, no bathroom. I got a whole hour.
No bathroom?
No bathroom. I got a whole hour to Memphis.
Oh, gosh.
And I'm putting myself in a happy place at that point. I'm on the beach, waves are coming in, that plane landed, I looked like a terrorist.
Out of the way.
I look like a terrorist getting off, knocking little ladies over.
Well, I got this story. This is very random. So, when I wrote the book Hoop Daddy about father sons in basketball. Mm-hmm. So in around 2003 or 4, I went to Big 12 Media Days because I couldn't get through to Bob Knight. I really wanted to do Bob Knight and his son. And
you're a brave man.
I know. So I'm at this hotel in Kansas City for Big 12 Basketball Media Days, and I see Knight. And I go walking around, and I come, and just as I approach him, and my doctor later described it for me as it's called a thunderclap headache. It was like somebody took a sledgehammer and hit me in the back of the head right there. And this pain shot up into my head, and then I must have turned pale and started sweating profusely, like simultaneously. And I sat down next to Knight and introduced myself to him and told him what I was doing. He looked at me and goes, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Actually, no, I feel really bad. I got this headache just started." Well, Blair Kirchhoff from the Kansas City Star and Times, great guy. He actually walked me over next door. There was actually a hospital literally right next door to the hotel down the plaza in Kansas City. And they did a CAT scan, and I had an MRI done the next day when I got back here. God, it was one of the worst days of my life. It took about 4 or 5 hours before I finally stabilized, and the pain was so intense. Nonetheless, I give Knight a business card and everything, and he says, "I'll get back to you." And he has some little SID guy who sends me an email about 2 months later that says, "Lee, Coach Knight can't do the interview." That was it.
Thanks.
Yeah. So he was not in the book, and I almost died trying to interview him.
Welcome to the old people edition, right here on Sports 225. Everybody's aches and pains, and yeah.
That was awful.
We're good.
That was the worst sports writing day of my life.
Okay.
Thank you for making me remember that and visualize you in the Fayetteville press box.
Yeah, and then on the airplane back to Memphis with no bathroom and sweating profusely,
Well, for the two of you who are still left watching, Ron covers LSU and the SEC for NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. And the big thing this week was, when I saw a referee I knew yesterday in the New Orleans airport when I landed and he was leaving. And I said, "Guess you didn't tee up too many people yesterday unless it was for not playing defense because he worked the NBA All-Star game."
They have referees? Really? I've been like the Globetrotters, just run them out there and just, get them involved in gags.
That used to be at one time a really cool sporting event, that game, and all the things that went with it. Now it's just a circus.
It's unwatchable, and basically it's just a reason to gather NBA's corporate sponsors together to celebrate all the money they make. Basically what it is. The game's unwatchable. It's become that way. I mean, it's an absolute sham. The first person down jacks a three. Or if somebody's going to the rim, lob it up to them.
Right, and nobody's allowed to defend.
Nobody defends anything. I mean, there's more defense in a YMCA game with 60-year-old guys. I mean, really. I mean, it's awful. It was awful to watch. I mean, and it gets worse. It gets worse every year. Just like the dunk contest gets worse every year. Just kill it.
Is there any reason to try to do what baseball did, which is actually put a significance on the game, which a lot of people don't like because of what's happened with baseball? But the winning team, their league, gets the home field advantage in the World Series.
I mean, maybe so, but back in the day, guys played and because they wanted to win, it was competitive. I mean, I remember Bob Pettit telling me one time he broke his arm in an All-Star game. Went to the hoop and some guy nailed him because
Yeah.
Now, the thing that aggravated me the most the other day was like they kept repeating how Anthony Davis broke Wilt Chamberlain's All-Star game record of 42 points. What a bogus record! I mean, really? He had 18 dunks. Ain't nobody touching him. Don't give me that. I mean, Wilt earned it. You know that. I mean, here's a guy who averaged 50 and 25 one year. I mean, he earned it, but I hate to sound like the old man telling the kid to get off his yard, but God Almighty, it was awful to watch. And
well, this whole segment's been about old men telling people.
Yeah, I mean, it was just. I mean, I was just amazed at how bad it was.
Well, when we get back, I do have an NBA question for you that will combine with the couple of minutes we just spent with whatever we'll have in the next segment. Will have given us more NBA talk on Sports 225. Combined over the last few months. Is it
get down oogie boogie boogie?
Something like that.
Oh boy.
He's Ron Higgins. I'm Lee Feinswag at Sports 225.
Hi, I'm Joe Martin, president of ITI Technical College, and I really encourage you to come out to our 12-acre campus here on Airline Highway in Baton Rouge.
Contact ITI to enroll in our Construction Management Associate and Occupational Studies degree program. Learn to plan, coordinate, budget, and supervise construction projects and collaborate with engineers and architects in the residential, commercial, industrial, and heavy civil construction industry sectors. Call now about this new, exciting career degree. ITI Technical College. Begin your journey to a better life.
All right, we're back on Sports 225. I'm Lee Feinswag, hanging out with Ron Higgins from NOLA.com, and we usually don't talk about the NBA on this show, that's for sure, but we did in the last segment about the All-Star Game and the word game being used loosely. But right afterwards, the New Orleans Pelicans, who are a disaster star-crossed franchise, picked up DeMarcus Cousins from the Sacramento Kings. DeMarcus Cousins is interesting for two reasons. One is because he's a fantastic basketball player and always has been. From his time at Kentucky and in the NBA, one of the most talented big guys in the game. He's also someone who can't control his emotions, as evidenced by the fact that he's led the league for the last couple of years in technical fouls, silly plays, outbursts. Ejections.
Fouled out.
And then on the other hand, you see him in certain environments where he's got a great sense of humor. He obviously gets it. But history has shown us that guys who can't control their emotions, no matter how good they are, when they go from point A to point B to point C to point D, they can't control their emotions. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. I mean, this is a 50 Shades of Grey trade. There's some pleasure, but there's going to be a lot of pain involved. I mean, it's wow. I heard this trade. I'm like, oh, be careful what you ask for here, because this guy's, as they say on a show, his bitchy resting face is just total disgust all the time. I don't think I've ever seen the guy smile, ever. He's unhappy all the time. He's unhappy with every coach he ever played for, except for Calipari in college.
Yep.
And, he puts up great numbers. He's an enormous talent. but they never once went to the playoffs while he was there. And you wonder how many of his points and rebounds are either for naught or kind of empty. But he's a great talent. And obviously this was done to make Anthony Davis feel like, we're going to get you some help. Please don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and so we'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, you're talking about a franchise that's going nowhere. They've been just treading water at best and swimming in it. And from a strictly basketball sense, they have nothing to lose because it's not like they're going to get any worse. They're not going to make the playoffs. The thing that's unfortunate is that this year they're bad enough where they might have had good draft picks and they gave them both up for the part of this trade. So you're stuck with what you got plus this guy. But he can play. Now, you've covered the NBA a lot. You were the Memphis Grizzlies beat writer for a while. And
yeah, I did NBA columns.
Right, and you mentioned a guy who is the exception to this rule, Zach Randolph, who, I think, I'm pretty sure Southern Miss, and I covered him in college.
Well, no, Zach Randolph with Michigan State.
Michigan State, okay.
Okay, Zach.
Who am I thinking of who went to Southern Miss and played in the NBA?
Clarence Witherspoon, maybe?
Maybe. Yeah.
Anyway,
Details.
Zach Randolph started his career with the Trailblazers, and of course they were known as like the Bale Blazers back then. I mean all kinds of problems. And he
Bale Blazers.
And he was part of it, you know. And
yeah.
And he went from team to team and had a reputation of being sullen, a malcontent, and Memphis picks him up. And Lionel Hollins is the coach, and of course he was on the Walton's team, Trailblazers NBA champions. He was a guard and played in the league and was a coach in the league. And he told Randolph, he goes, listen, you know, if you want to stay in this league and you want to play for us, I know you like to get your own shot. He goes, but when you play for me, if you play defense and rebounding, you'll get as many minutes as you want, and I'll get you your shot. And bit by bit, he converted Randolph even off the court as a person. And now Zach Randolph might be the most beloved Grizzly in Memphis. It's amazing the total turnaround of this guy, and it can be done with the right coach. You know, and I hope it's done with DeMarcus Cousins. He has an enormous talent, but it's just he plays with a sullen look all the time, like he's never enjoying himself.
And he was the same way, even though the 1 year he played at Kentucky.
Yeah.
I mean, he's super talented, but he just looked like a kid with issues. And I wonder, again, if the one and done rule doesn't hurt a guy like that, where maybe the nurturing family atmosphere you can get at a college team and at a university might help you. I mean, I'm trying to play psychiatrist here. I'm not one.
I agree. But, I just don't want to be this guy like a lot of guys in the league. Like 10 years from now, when they're out of it, and they look back and they go, "God, I was just an idiot. Why did I act that way?
Yeah,
you know, why didn't somebody tell me you're an idiot? You know.
Well, I had Richard Williams, the coach at Mississippi State, who was so cantankerous, and especially when the year they went to the Final Four, tell me afterwards in his career when we got out of coaching the first time, I wish I hadn't been like that, and I don't know why I was.
Yeah, I mean, he told me, he goes, I really wish I would have treated the media better. You know, and I said, so why did you? I said, somebody would. He goes, I said, somebody would ask you a question about after a game, and you would just get bowed up. He goes, I guess it was because, I never played basketball. I was a math teacher, and I thought people were questioning my coaching ability. And I realized when I became a member of the media, they just wanted an explanation of it. They weren't like.
Yeah, nobody had an agenda.
Yeah, and he goes, I didn't realize that. And so, at least he was honest about it,
Yeah.
and
Well, at LSU in baseball, right after you left, in the mid-'80s, they had a player named Joey Bell,
who
became Albert Bell,
Yeah.
who there are plenty of people will tell you that because of his career with the Cleveland Indians, he should be in the Hall of Fame. One of the best players during his era, fabulous, unbelievable career, but was so mean and so disliked that that's another issue I have with the Baseball Hall of Fame, which I think is as messed up an organization as there is, and that'll blow it up and start over. But there you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of times people remember you for how you treat people. I mean, no matter how good you are, and if you're just a jerk all the time, they're gonna remember you as a jerk, and it's a shame. And I hope Cousins, I really do hope he can turn it around. He is an unbelievably, his talents is off the charts.
But those two guys alone, him and Randolph, two of the best people at their position in the league. But do they have enough going with them?
Yeah, well, we talk about Anthony Davis. Do that. That's a good question.
Who did I say?
Randolph.
Oh,
but DeMarcus
Cousins and Randolph.
But they traded away some people they probably need, but then they gave up a lot, and the draft choices too. That's a good question. Who they got left? Drew Holiday, and the other guy they got in the trade, Cassidy's not a bad player. People don't realize it. I remember seeing that guy play. I think it was he's coming out of high school and an international player. I remember watching him play, a nice shooter. So
yeah,
you don't know, that might be a bonus too. I would like them to look like an actual NBA franchise.
That would be good.
It's tough to watch them because, it's Anthony Davis versus the world.
I can't. Times that make me cringe, when my mind says the things that I said. So I can't wait until I go back and see the production value of this show later and look and see how I actually screwed up Davis and Randolph, and I'd rather not know.
That's what I'm here for.
Thank you.
Okay.
He's Zach Higgins, and
and
I'm Anthony Feinswagen. It's Sports 225, and we'll be right back.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagine big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, one family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit Breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
A moment of silence as we pause, and Ron and I were just talking about LSU basketball. So we're taping the show on Tuesday morning. The first time you could see it would be on Cox 4 on Thursday night, CST on Friday morning, and of course on our Sports 225 YouTube channel. And the LSU basketball team plays Tuesday night, so the result will have been a moot point as far as this conversation goes. Either the Tigers will have shocked the world and won a game to break the long losing streak, or have set the school record for the most losses in a row.
We've tied the school record at 14.
Oh, gosh.
Held by 2 teams, including Press Maravich's last team. Actually, they were back-to-back teams. Truett had one, and then Maravich had one the next year. So 2 separate teams had 14-game losing streaks.
So you're going back to 66, 67, somewhere in there, right?
Yeah. And they lost, each of those years lost 14.
How did this happen, in your opinion? I mean, we've talked a lot about LSU basketball, and I haven't seen you since early January. We came back from the Christmas break, and we're talking about this now, and we've been beating it around. We all expect there'll be a change and stuff, but where did the train go off the tracks, in your opinion?
Ben Simmons.
Really?
I think that he didn't know how to handle Ben Simmons, and I don't think Johnny, when he got Ben Simmons, realized that the stuff that came with Ben Simmons, as far as the entourage and the film crew, and
so you felt a culture change, for lack of a better term,
yeah,
as well,
And it just that team played disjointed from about midway in the SEC season on, and then it never really got going. Hornsby was hurt early, and then got hurt late. They got Victor, late in after non-conference play, and but even when the games they won, it was like every game was a struggle. And it's a team that never, like this year, this year's even worse because there's not nearly as much talent. And as a team, an imbalanced roster of mostly guards and wing guys with nobody really long athletes. And frankly, they just basically don't run an offense. They've tried to run an offense that looked like the Harlem Globetrotters weave. Recently, and basically all it's
two Harlem Globetrotters references.
Yeah, and all it's done was basically take the offense further away from the goal, and they never look inside and they jack up a shot. That's what happens when you don't have Meadowlark Lemon at your center. You can't get a good shot.
Look, Superman.
Even a hook shot.
But let me ask you this, because you've covered the league now, a really long time, and every sport, and not just basketball. We didn't expect the LSU basketball team to be good this year, but we thought maybe they might be decent, if you will, like middle of the pack, and maybe compete. I was trying to think of the last time an SEC team in any sport that we've covered became this disappointing.
Wow.
I know. And I did not throw this at him earlier. I mean, it's just
Yeah, I mean,
that's
a good one.
Yeah.
I mean,
every once in a while, there's been football teams, you
Yeah.
know, that you say, oh, well, they're going to win the league, and then they underachieve to a great deal. But you're talking about like maybe going 8-4.
Yeah, and you can watch a team lose, and you feel like some games they had a chance.
Yeah.
This team hadn't just lost; it's gotten its rear end kicked royally. Their average loss margin in SEC games has been almost 20 points.
Wow. Well, you know, and I think back, like in terms of LSU, the year that it all started to go south for Jerry DiNardo, they had a team that was ranked like in the maybe third, fourth, fifth, something like that, and they played Georgia, and then everything just fell off the table. It was terrible. It was the beginning of the end.
That's right.
That might be, you know, like in terms of LSU circumstance. I mean, there's been some bad basketball teams there over the last 23 years. But and I use that as a line of demarcation from the point where Dale Brown had 4 losing seasons to end his career, and then John Brady took over. But you expected it because there just was nothing. You know?
But they're not even barely watchable because they don't do really anything well. They're fundamentally horrible. They don't run an offense. They don't play defense for very long. They don't block out rebounding. They don't help on defense. Every little thing checks, the box checks, and it's just like, and there will be a coaching change. There's no, it's just, you've got. I talked to Ralph Ukla yesterday, and Ralph Ukla was on the last team that lost 14 in a row. The Maravich, Chris Maravich's first team.
He's a good guy.
And he talked about, you know, he goes, you know, Ralph's had season tickets forever, and he says, I know season ticket holders that have been here for 30 years that they say this is the first time they've ever left games early this year.
Wow.
And
all right, well, if we don't leave this segment right now, we're not going to have any time left in the last segment, because I know you want time to talk about how Tulane almost beat UConn in women's basketball last week. Just kidding. It's Sports 225. We'll be right back.
Don't let the bed bugs bite you. We'll put them to sleep.
Bed bugs can be transported from most anywhere. Hotels, department stores, even a friend's house.
We've got the bead on bed bugs. Call the bug man today.
Call 923-BUGS.
Coming down the home stretch of another Sports 225, go to sports225.com for the listings when you can watch the show on Cox 4, CST, or the Sports 225 YouTube channel, which you can link to right there on sports225.com. Thanks to John Williams from Think JCW for directing the show, and to Ron Higgins for being here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you cover baseball last weekend at the box?
Yeah, opening series. It was a relief for LSU fans to see something win. And look good doing it. And granted, Army and Air Force were, you know, the greatest opponents in the world, but LSU came out and played superbly. Great pitching, even on the third game by Eric Walker, a true freshman. They've got some true freshman pitchers who are dynamite. They got 2 position players that are freshman players at first and third who are great. They're really excited about this team. This team has a definite chance to go a long way.
Can I tell you the one thing that I have never seen in person on any level, major league, minor league, college, high school, is a no-hitter. I've never seen a no-hitter in person.
I saw, when I was a kid, Bruce Bardier's perfect game at LSU. I think it was 1967. I was 11 years old.
All right, well, that ends the old guy conversation for the day because we got nothing left and we got no time.
Too many old stuff.
Ron Higgins at NOLA.com. Read his stuff. It's great. I'm Lee Feinswag. Thank you for watching Sports 225. We got to get out of here.
At carnival time by Baton Rouge Bay, that's the site of my story. At Spanish Town Mardi Gras, things can get blurry. See the mowers marching, prizes fill the sky. This Spanish Town Mardi Gras, may it never die.